But how else can we explain these terrible deaths? One else last night, 5 others before him. That's 6 within as many weeks, Inspector. Our friends, neighbors that we'd known for years, drained of their life's blood, found dead in bed, lifeless skeletons of skin and bone. Vampires are at large, I tell you, vampires.
Yeah. Malignant demons who issue forth from their graves in the dead of night to attack their victims and drink the blood from their veins.
Gotten him of Brettschneider, don't jest.
That blood-sucking legend belongs in the same category with werewolves and all other peasant superstitions.
But the bats, man. The bats.
God, yes. Big ones, so.
Oh, now we're switching to bats again.
There was an epidemic of giant bats in Kleinschloss in 1643. And at the same time, there was an outbreak of vampirism.
Rot.
Why, this record from the town archive proves it.
Says it, not proves it.
Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. Now, here it is. And on this day was von Hausmann hanged from a gibbet in the public square after being convicted on a proven charge of vampirism. And on this same day, there did occur the departure of the bats, thousands of horrible flying creatures which infested the town for weeks. And on the night of this same day, February 13, in the year of our Lord, 1643, was there a stake driven through von Hausmann's heart and his head cut off with a grave digger's shovel. There.
Well, all the records in the world can't make me believe in vampires. There are blood-sucking bats, yes. In South America, thousands of miles from here, but not in Kleinschloss.
But bats fly. They could fly here. You saw the bodies. All of them. 2 wounds on the neck, right at the jugular vein. 2 wounds on the neck, pierced and spread apart just as if 2 fang-like teeth had bitten through the flesh and right into the veins. And in every case, a blood clot, 8 inches from the victim's neck. The mark of the feast, the devil's signature.
Does that appear the mark of a human being or a demon's?
God save us, the devil's.
You ought to make a pretty fair meal for a vampire. But let's be consistent. Are these human vampires or bats?
Vampires can take the shape of a human or a bat, just as they choose.
Oh, they're magicians. Well, it doesn't make sense to me.
The whole village is in terror. We live in closed houses, behind locked doors and bolted shutters, not daring to close our eyes, fearful lest this unseen silent death may find us in our sleep, for it is then that it strikes, swiftly, silently, ghastly. My room is tightly closed. The windows are barred, nailed down. Nothing can get in. Nothing.
But they tell me vampires can go through stone walls like that.
God save me, so they can. We've got to do something, I tell you. Kleinschloss will become a deserted village.
Well, You might catch all the bats and drown them in the river.
Karl!
While you're hunting for vampires and chasing bats, I'm looking for a human being. A murderer, a fiend.
Well, then don't jest about it. Do something.
I'm trying to. Every hour, every day, every night since this thing started.
Do you hear it? Hear it? Yes. Night after night. Lying awake until dawn. Waiting.
For what?
I don't know.
That's what I thought. Good night, gentlemen. Don't let the vampires get you. Are your kisses dynamite?
Don't you like my kisses? Well, how's my mastermind this evening?
Well, if you want the truth, not so good.
The Burgermeister and his Grand Council still stick to the vampire theory.
Stick to it. Huh. They're quoting history to prove it. I think you and Dr. von Niemann are the only sane people left in the village.
And you? What about you?
Me? Well, I'm beginning to think I'm 7 different kinds of a fool. Murders are being done under my very nose. I must be as blind as the bats themselves. I can't find a single clue.
Oh, but you will, Karl. You will.
Well, I haven't.
Oh, Ruth!
And here comes dear Aunt Gussie to spread good cheer and hope.
Just what I thought. Slaving your life away in this awful place. It hasn't got that nice, clean, wholesome smell of a hospital. How are you, Karl?
Oh, quite well, thank you.
Well, I'm not. This clammy old place is bound to give me pericarditis, enteriditis, neuritis, well, anyway, rheumatism. You have some coffee?
No, thank you, Frau Stampmann.
No, it's just as well. There's only 2 cups. Yeah. That'll take the chill out of your bones.
Thank you.
Speaking of chills, Frau Schnappmann, did you know the village is supposed to be infested with ghouls and vampires?
Oh, Karl.
Vampires. Pariahs among fiends. Demoniacal creatures with huge canine teeth who bite deeply into the necks of their victims to quaff and gorge on blood. Warm human blood.
There's no such thing as a vampire, Karl Brettschneider. I don't believe in it. You're just saying that to frighten me. And I just won't be frightened. I'm entirely too sensible to believe in such rubbish.
I beg pardon.
Oh, so it's you.
I'm sorry if I frightened you.
Who said you frightened me? I'm not afraid of anything.
Could you tell me where Dr. von Niemann is?
We drove to the village to see Martha, the old apple woman.
Thank you.
Is this what Dr. Haupt prescribed?
Yes, sir. She takes it in water.
Well, continue giving it to her.
Yes, sir.
It's stifling in here. Open these windows.
Yes, sir.
Herman open windows. Me do.
Well, she'll still
Sleep well now, poor soul. It won't be necessary for you to stay here. A good night's sleep will work wonders for her.
It was kind of you to come, Doctor.
Oh. Martha has sold me apples for many years. Always a good, ripe, juicy one.
Martha, give me apples. I like.
Oh, Josephine. Oh, Margaret.
She wants her cross.
Herman, get. Here. Now, there. For Martha. There. Oh.
She won't let it out of her sight.
A terrible experience. To be attacked by a giant bat is enough to shatter anyone's nerves.
She talks about it all the time. How it flew in her face and tried to sink its teeth in her throat.
No. Bats no do. They soft, like cat. They not bite Herman.
Be quiet, Herman. See what you've done.
There, Martha, there. She'll be all right. If she isn't, let me know.
Thank you for coming, Doctor.
That's all right. Good night.
Good night. Run along, Herman. You can see Martha tomorrow.
Oh.
Dr. von Niemann.
Ah, Kringen, how are you?
Much better, thank you kindly, sir, since you prescribed for me.
That's right.
Go to bed, Herman. Go to bed. You shouldn't be prowling around the streets. Dangerous.
Oh.
I'm afraid.
Afraid? Afraid of what, Kringen?
The bats, sir. Big giant bats with wings like an eagle's.
You saw this bat, you say?
I saw it swooping down the street. It came directly for my throat, sir.
When was this, Kringen?
Last night when they came to take Von Els. It was a big monstrous thing. I saw it leap across the alley and into a window. I ran just as fast as my legs could carry me.
You said nothing about this?
There's enough fear in the village already. Maybe I should. I will. I'll tell the Burgermeister.
Yes, Kringen. That's the thing to do.
No. Bats good. They not hurt Herman.
He plays with them.
You no tell.
No. No. Go to bed, Herman. Go on, go to bed.
You say he plays with bats?
His garret is filled with them. He makes pets of them.
That's odd. Very odd.
Maybe he's it. Herman prowls around the streets all hours of the night, just like an animal. Maybe he's the vampire.
Now, don't start any gossip about that, Kringen. Heaven only knows where it might end. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Now, soft, nice. There.
See? What did I tell you?
Perhaps there's something in what Kringen says.
Seems strange that a human being should want to play with bats.
He isn't human, I tell you. He's in league with the devil.
Put it on. There. Thanks.
Now go to sleep. You'll be all right in a few days. The doctor says so.
Close the window. I'm afraid. The vampire.
Well, he said leave them open, but I'd have them closed. You want the light?
Leave the light. I'm afraid.
Well, I can't blame you for that either. I'll turn it down a little. Good night. If you want me, just pound on the floor. I'll hear you.
All right. Good night.
Good night, Martha.
Oh.
Karl Brettschneider is here to see you, sir. He's in the laboratory with Miss Burton.
Oh, thank you. Ah, here you are.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Ruth. How are you, Carl?
Well, I'd feel a lot better if I could find a solution to these murders.
You don't believe in this vampire theory, then?
Of course not. Do you?
There are many strange happenings, my boy. Many mysteries beyond the power of the human mind to comprehend.
Have you a theory which might explain these deaths?
Well, I'll be pleased to discuss it with you, but not now, not now. I have some very important work to do.
Well, tomorrow, then.
Tomorrow? Yes, perhaps. We'll see. Oh, this isn't so important, Miss Betty, that you can't let it go till tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Oh, how about Martha?
Huh? Oh, nothing serious. Just a case of nerves, that's all. Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night, Carl.
Name?
Martha Muller.
Age?
I don't know.
Cause of death?
Like all the rest.
The vampire?
Yes, that's so.
When I said I was going to tell you, his eyes glowed up like coals of fire. His hand reached out towards me, as if he were going to sink it into my throat.
And weigh this well. He never works and never begs, and yet he appears well-fed always.
That's so, he does.
Well, what does he live on, then? I'll wager as Kringen says.
And my woman was in Martha's room tonight when Herman put a flower in her hand.
Strange business, if you ask me. Mighty strange.
I hate to be in your shoes, Kringen.
Yes, after what happened tonight, I'd lock myself in my room and pray God to protect me from the devil.
Good evening, Herr Doctor. Good evening.
Dr. von Niemann. Doctor.
Vampire.
Well, what do you make of it, Doctor?
Are these two wounds similar to those found on the other bodies?
Dr. Haupt can answer that for you, sir.
Yes, they were the same in every case.
This is a strange condition, Carl. So strange that I doubt the evidence of my eyes. What was your conclusion, Haupt?
I diagnosed the wounds as having been made by needle-sharp teeth. Punctures are clean cut, penetrating into, but not beyond, the jugular vein.
Do you mean to say that you also believe they could have been made by teeth?
Frankly, I do.
Ah, you see, Brettschneider?
What kind of teeth, Doctor?
An animal of some sort. It's hard to say. The fangs of a wolf, perhaps.
A werewolf.
Could they have been made by, well, a bat, for instance?
A certain species, yes. There are vampire bats. Dr. William Jamison, who explored many of the tributaries of the upper Amazon, states that blood-sucking bats do exist. He further asserts that the victims often become blood drinkers themselves, citing a case in which he saw a native tortured to death in an anthill by his tribe brothers. They swore he had become a human bat, and, states Jamison, he confessed it.
Do you mean to say that such a thing as a human vampire is possible?
Who can say? Historic records would have us believe that an evil soul, assuming there is such, can take any shape it pleases.
So why not into that of a human being? Eh, Karl? Why not?
Have you any literature on the subject, Doctor?
Yes, I have many interesting volumes on my shelf that might prove very enlightening. I'll be glad to show them to you.
I don't mind admitting that I'm up a tree. Stumped.
Well, we'll see what can be done, my boy.
No, Herman. This is no place for you. Go away, my boy. Go away.
Good night, John.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night, Hop.
Good night, Doctor.
In the morning, Karl.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm sorry to have dragged you out at such an ungodly hour.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. A child fleeing in horror from the sight of death.
There goes the vampire. Arrest him. Lock him up. Kill him.
Has the entire village gone mad? Herman wouldn't harm a baby, and you know it.
I've walked the streets of this village for over 40 years, but tonight's the end. He knows that I've told he plays with bats. He knows that I saw him sneak into Martha's house just before midnight.
Perhaps he was taking her another flower, Kringen. The boy brought her one this evening while I was there.
He killed her just like he did all the rest. And now he's going to kill me. Unless he's killed in a stake driven through his heart, I'm a doomed man. He'll kill me. He'll kill me. I'm doomed. He'll kill me. He'll kill me. I'm a doomed man. He'll kill me.
Good morning, Mr. Brettschneider. What brings you to Kleinschloss so early?
You?
Fibber. I heard the doctor tell Georgiana he expected you.
I knew there was something else.
You're a delightful prevaricator, Karl, but not a very convincing one.
You don't mind me using your stethoscope, do you, Doctor?
Not at all, Frau Schnappen. But what seems to be the ailment this morning?
What's that? Oh.
What seems to be the ailment this morning?
Well, Doctor, I am positive that I have valvular leakage of the aorta. Or maybe it's the right ventricle. There is something wrong with my heart. I can hear it beat, thump, 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 just like the book says.
Well, if you didn't hear it beating thump, 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 just as the book says, I would say there is something wrong.
What? Without a moon?
You have a heart of stone.
All right, then. Close your eyes. No.
Oh, so, young lady.
It's too early in the morning, Karl. Much too early.
Oh, is it?
Oh, there's Aunt Gussie.
She would show up just at a time like this.
Well, Aunt Gussie, what's the matter now?
I have palpitation of the auricular, ventricular, and microvalves with a cardiac tendency.
You mean your heart's beating?
Of course it's beating. Dr. Von Neelen tried to assure me, but I know it's serious. I'm liable to go just like that.
Did he prescribe for you, dear?
Yes, monacid ester salicylic acid.
You mean salicylic acid, don't you?
Yes, salicylic. It's helped me. My heart is much quieter. Hello, Karl.
Hello.
Oh, Karl, you'll be good to her when I'm gone, won't you?
Yes, of course I will, Frau Schnappmann.
Well, I'm not gone yet. You can't marry her unless I say so. Don't forget that. Oh, my heart.
There, Auntie, you'll be all right. Just rest a while. What you need is
What?
rest, dear. Quiet. And Gussie has a heart like a steam engine.
Come on. Don't you know it's wrong to steal? You've cut yourself.
See? Blood.
Yes. Stop it.
No hurt me. No hurt.
Oh, you poor thing. Now, you wait right here, and I'll run in the house and get something for that finger. A subcutaneous wound like that might easily result in a tetanus infection.
Tetanus.
Tetanus. Lockjaw. Not that you need be afraid. From the way you talk, I think you've got it already. Look, here's a nice, juicy apple for you.
Ah, this is it. Traits sur les apparitions des esprits et sur les vampires by Augustin Dom Calame in 1746. Let us suppose that these corpses do not actually stir from their tombs, but only the ghosts or spirits appear to the living. Wherefore do these phantoms present themselves, and what is it that energizes them? Is it actually the soul of the dead man which has not yet departed to its final destination?
Fiddlesticks. Now, how could a corpse buried under 4 or 5 feet of earth get out to do any such foolishness? I don't believe it.
It's a fair question, Doctor. How could it?
Well, according to accepted theory, the vampire dematerializes its body and reintegrates it outside the grave.
It's a good explanation, if you can believe it. And while I'm standing here listening to all this rubbish, there's a poor man in the garden in danger of a tetanus infection. Now, what should I do for him, Doctor? Shall I apply mercurochrome or 2% solution of bichloride?
Well, either will do. Get some gauze and some mercurochrome.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll wait here.
Difficult to believe, isn't it? It's impossible to believe. And yet, it would explain these deaths, wouldn't it?
Ah, Brettschneider. Pardon our intrusion, Dr. von Niemann, but after what you saw last night, you'll be interested in this as well.
Well, what's happened?
Gringen was found dead an hour ago, with the 2 punctures in his neck and not a drop of blood in his body. And what's more, Herman Gleib has disappeared.
What?
Now are you convinced that we were right and you were wrong?
That'd be proof enough for anybody. Kringen said Herman would get him, and he did.
Well, Brettschneider?
I appoint you my deputy. Organize a searching party and comb this countryside from one end to the other. Find Herman Gleib and bring him in, but don't harm him. Do you understand?
What good will that do? He's the vampire. There's only one thing for us to do when we find him. Kill him and drive a stake through his
Herman
heart.
Gleib will be tried by a court of law. If the charge against him is proven true, the law will decide what to do with him, not you. I'll get your men together and do as I tell you.
That's the way to talk.
I'm going into town for a little while, Doctor. Would you care to come along?
Oh, I hardly believe so. There's little to be done until they find the boy. If you need me then,
All right, thanks. I'll let you know.
I feel as though I was going to faint.
Oh, there, Auntie. There's nothing here to be afraid of. Here comes Emil with your mercurochrome and bandages. Run along now and take care of that patient of yours.
Oh, heavens, I forgot all about him. Oh, my heart. Oh.
Poor Auntie. She's had every ailment in the book.
and a lot that aren't, I'm afraid.
Particularly a palpitation of the auriculoventricular, tricuspid, and mitral valves, Doctor.
Well, I had to tell her something to satisfy her.
Here, you mustn't do that. Now, where's that finger?
You good like Martha. She give me apples. Herman like you.
Are you Herman?
Me, Herman. You give me apple? Herman give you nice soft bat.
What is it, Georgiana?
I just found this in Emil's room.
Well?
It belonged to my friend, Martha Mueller.
Are you certain?
I gave it to her myself. Martha died last night. I find her crucifix in Emil's room. Doesn't that mean Emil is the one Herr Brettschneider is seeking?
This amazes me, Georgiana. It isn't possible.
It rained the night Von Elst died. There was mud on Emil's shoes the next morning.
Have you mentioned this to anyone?
I intend to tell Herr Brettschneider when he calls again.
I can't believe it. Leave this with me. I want to talk to Emil before you say anything to anyone.
The Burgermeister should know at once.
Yes, all in good time. Emil has been with me too long for us to jump at conclusions. Don't say anything until I tell you, and send Emil to me.
Very well, Doctor.
That's for the neuritis. And the pepsin, that Hassenpfeffer was tougher than shoe leather. And sweet spirits of nitre. That'll help, at least won't do any harm. And ginger, that'll warm my stomach. And now, a little pipe out of soda.
To the village with us. Come on. We won't hurt you.
No, won't go. Herman afraid.
Come on. You're going with us, Herman.
No.
You're going with us.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on. Get him. Come on, Herman. We won't hurt you. Come on.
No.
Come, that settles him.
Yes, let's go. We got him down below.
We've got to make certain.
I won't go down there.
Nobody asked you to. I'll go myself.
Can you see him?
He's on a ledge about 50 feet down. I'll get a rope. We've got to make certain, I tell you.
You must be careful, Emil. Very careful. No. It must be. She's no better than the rest. I've got to go on.
you, Doctor. Good evening.
I'm sorry to have to disturb you, Doctor, but we simply couldn't make Georgiana hear the bell.
That's quite all right, my dear. Georgiana's becoming careless. Very careless.
Yes, I've noticed that, too. In my opinion, she has nagana. That's sleeping sickness. You know the symptoms, Doctor. At first, I thought it was creeping paralysis, so I stuck a pin in her leg to see. And there was a splendid reaction of the reflex motor nerve.
Why, Auntie.
You're shocked. So was she.
Won't you join me in some coffee?
Yes, thanks, Doctor. We will. There are a few questions I'd like to ask you, Paul.
About blood and murders and vampires, I suppose.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Oh, so am I. Well, good night. If such a thing is possible, I'm going to bed.
Won't you join us too, Frau Schnappmann?
Coffee at this hour of the night? No, thank you. I'm going to stick to my Mona Sylvester salicylic salad. Acid, Doctor, acid. Good night.
What's the news in the village, Karl? Have they located Herman yet?
No, not a trace of him. I hate to think of that poor misfit being hunted down like a dog. You know, I simply can't bring myself to believe in that vampire theory.
Will you pour, Ruth?
Certainly.
I know, Karl. Our saner, calmer judgment tells us that such things can't be, and yet, here, for instance, in this ponderous tome, are cited 1,001 phobias and complexes that human beings are heir to. Some of them are strange, more untenable even than werewolves and vampires. Could I have some more, please?
You drink entirely too much coffee.
Well, it's my one weakness. And also my excuse for tolerating Georgiana's laxity and other things. She does know how to make good coffee. Thank you. She brings it to me every night at exactly 10 o'clock. And when I've drunk it all, then I know it's time to quit.
Yes, and eat breakfast so you can have more coffee.
Oh.
Georgiana, you mustn't lie like that. You'll get yourself a torticolis. No, stiff neck. Georgiana.
That was Auntie. Auntie!
Oh, I'm all right. I'm all right now. Oh, it's just
David, help Frau Schnapper to her room.
I'm silly imagination. I imagine myself, Georgia.
The same 2 wounds, Doctor.
And my last words to her were angry ones. A petulant reprimand for being late with my coffee.
What time is that?
About 2 or 3 minutes after 10.
She's been dead then about 45 minutes. Bloodless like the rest. It passes all belief. Ruth's aunt saw Herman Gleib in the garden this morning. Could it be that he... You were the first one here. What happened?
I was in my room reading. My door was open. I must have dozed off for a minute or so because I awoke to hear Frau Schnappmann scream.
You say your door was open?
Yes, my room is very poorly ventilated.
And you saw nothing? Heard nothing unusual?
Nothing.
Karl.
What is it?
This crucifix belonged to Martha. See who it is, Emil.
Can you positively identify this as belonging to Martha?
Without a doubt. I saw it in her room the night she died.
How in the world did it get here?
Herman Gleib was in her room. He had that crucifix in his hands. And Herman was here today.
Maybe here now, for all we know.
Who is it? Oh,
How is she?
She's had a real shock this time, but she'll be all right. I'm putting her to bed.
Leave her there. Don't let her out of this room. And don't you leave it either.
Why, what do you mean?
It looks as if Herman Gleib is the killer after all. It's possible he may be hiding here in the castle.
Why, what makes you think so?
I'll tell you later. Stay in your room and keep your door locked.
Don't worry about that.
I heard every word he said, and I don't think there's any use of them searching for Herman. They should look for a dog, a human-faced dog.
Auntie, the doors and windows are all locked. There's nothing to be afraid of now.
Who said I was afraid? I'm not a bit afraid.
No, of course you're not afraid, but you must get some rest.
Rest in this awful place? With dog-faced Hermans and human-faced bats and blood and murders and vampires.
Find anything, Karl?
There's an unbroken cobweb in that window. If Herman did it, he came through the door.
He must have. And yet I don't understand how he could find his way up here without us hearing him. Yet Emil was asleep, and I was in the library. Yes, he could have done it. The facts all point to it. What was it, Emil?
The Burgermeister. He has news for Herr Brettschneider about Herman.
Oh.
Pardon the intrusion, Doctor. Pardon the intrusion. I knew Karl was here, and I thought you wouldn't mind if I ran in to tell him the news.
About Herman?
Yes. He fell into the Devil's Well in the cave.
He's dead?
Dead as a doornail. This ends our troubles, Karl. The vampire's dead. I can feel it in my bones.
Well, your bones may be wrong. What time did this happen?
Quite early, about 9 o'clock. The cave is nearly 2 hours from here. That's why we didn't hear it sooner.
Well, it may interest you to know that there's been another death after your vampire died.
Who?
Dr. von Niemann's housekeeper. Right here in her own room.
Mother of mercy. What are we going to do?
But a natural death wouldn't kill a vampire, Karl. You know the accepted theory. A stake driven through the heart.
Oh, yes, that's the theory, all right.
But...
What?
But they did. They drove a stake through his heart.
Good God, are we living in the Middle Ages?
It wasn't through my sanction, Karl. Basawa did it. He told me so himself.
Well, that ends the vampire theory as far as I'm concerned. Herman Gleib died in the accepted fashion for killing a vampire. Oh, no, there's some human agency at work here, Doctor. A madman who kills to satisfy some violent, sadistic urge.
Yes, you're right, Karl. I've been a fool, a superstitious fool.
Did they leave his body in the cave?
Yes. Yes, they did.
Well, in view of what's happened, don't you think you owe him a decent burial?
You're right. In view of what has happened, we do owe him that, Karl. I'll see to it at once, this very instant. And I'll make arrangements for Georgiana's removal to the morgue. Good night, Doctor. Pardon the intrusion.
Good night, Gustav.
Pardon the intrusion.
Well, here I am, just where I started weeks ago. There isn't a single theory that doesn't lead straight into a stone wall. I've jested about this vampire business because my better judgment told me it was a lot of nonsense. Then I reached the point where I was willing to accept even that, because it seemed to satisfy the equation.
All of us are a bit superstitious.
I don't know which way to turn, where to look, what to look for. Why should anyone want human blood? Why?
Calm yourself, Karl.
Calm myself. Calm myself. With all these unsolved murders staring me in the face and no solution in sight? How much blood is there in the human body, Doctor?
About 6 liters, approximately.
Can you think of any purpose for which that amount of blood might be used?
No. Not even in transfusions.
That's the point which stops me. There isn't any other use for human blood. Murderers leave clues. And these atrocities are murders, Doctor. Those simple fools in the village can believe what they like, but you and I are sane, thinking people. And you know and I know, Doctor, that these are murders. The last one was done here, In this very house, right under this roof. All right, I'll start here. I'm going over every foot of this place, both inside and out. Nobody, sane or insane, is clever enough to get away with murder without leaving a clue of some sort. And I'm going to find that clue.
Oh, come, Karl. You mustn't let your nerves run away with you. Here. These will help to give you a good night's sleep. If there are any clues, they'll be here in the morning when your nerves are calm and your mind is clear. Take my advice and go home and rest.
I imagined 1,000 demons were after me as I came down those stairs.
Ruth, didn't I tell you to stay in your room?
Yes, but I wanted the doctor to come up and quiet Auntie. You know, it isn't her imagination this time.
Of course, Ruth, I'll come right away. Take my advice, young man. Go home and go to bed.
Good night, Carl.
Good night, Ruth.
Good night, Carl.
Good night, Doctor.
If his lights are on, you must wait, Emil. Wait until he has gone to bed. Handle him as you did the others, Emil. You are strong. Very strong. I am waiting for you. Waiting for you to bring him to the laboratory.
You're the one. What mad thing are you doing?
Mad? Is one who has solved the secret of life to be considered mad? Life, created in the laboratory. No mere crystalline growth, but tissue. Living, growing tissue. Life that moves, pulsates, and demands food for its continued growth. Huh. You shudder in horror. So did I the first time. But what are a few lives to be weighed in the balance against the achievement of biological science? Think of it. I have lifted the veil. I have created life. Wrested the secret of life from life. Now do you understand? From the lives of those who have gone before, I have created life.
I'll tell Karl.
You may. For tonight, Karl's name will be added to yours. And all of those whom this achievement will immortalize.
I didn't take your sleeping tablets, Doctor.
Emil brought them here. He's the one who murdered them.
Stay where you are. You'll have a chance to tell everything, Doctor.
I'll take care of von Niemann. Get her out of here.
You stay here. Von Niemann and Emil.
Doctor! Dr. Von Niemann!
Karl, she mustn't see them.
Where is Dr. Von Niemann? I must see him immediately.
Aunt Gussie, you can't. He can't be disturbed.
Oh, but I must see him. I simply must. That hydrous magnesium sulfate he gave me is affecting me most peculiarly. You'll pardon me?
Hydrous magnesium sulfate. Well, that's Epsom salts.
Night falls over the small German village of Kleinschloss, and the world seems to shrink beneath the weight of mist and superstition. The cobblestone streets glisten with damp fog, lanterns flickering like weary sentinels against the dark. Above the rooftops, the ancient church bell tolls midnight, slow, hollow, eternal, and in that echo, something stirs. The villagers draw their curtains tight, their whispers mingling with the wind, stories of bloodless bodies found at dawn, of wings flitting through moonlight, of a shadow that drinks from the living. The word they fear slips from trembling lips in secret: vampire. It's not said loudly, for even the sound might summon it. In the heart of this haunted place lives Ruth Bertan, a woman of calm grace and quiet strength, her face pale as the winter moon. She tends to her mother and helps in the village, her life simple yet shadowed by worry. Her closest friend and love is Karl Brettschneider, a young inspector with sharp eyes and a mind that rejects the old fears. To Karl, these are not the works of demons or the undead, but of flesh and blood, crimes committed by men hiding behind myth. Yet as he moves through the fog-laden streets, even he feels it, that strange, electric stillness that clings to the air, the sense that the night itself is watching. Overseeing it all is Dr. Otto von Niemann, a respected scientist whose calm voice and steady hands give the villagers comfort. He is a man of intellect, logic, and authority, the kind who stands tall when others tremble. His great laboratory looms above the town, a cold sanctuary of flasks, lights, and the hum of experiment. He assures the frightened townsfolk that there is no vampire, that disease, not darkness, takes the lives of their neighbors. And yet, behind his measured tone, his eyes gleam with something unreadable, something that feels colder than reason. As dawn breaks, the village awakens to another horror. A woman is found pale and lifeless in her bed, 2 small wounds upon her throat. The priest blesses the house. The doctor examines the body. Whispers rise like smoke. It happened again. The camera lingers on faces, terrified mothers, weary men clutching crosses, the old muttering prayers to saints long forgotten. Fear becomes a fever that spreads faster than truth. Even Karl, though stubborn in his disbelief, feels it gnaw at his certainty. That evening, Ruth waits by her window as the sun sinks behind the hills, its dying light bleeding crimson across the sky. From the forest beyond, bats rise in dark flocks, sweeping across the clouds like living shadows. Their cries pierce the silence, shrill, otherworldly, alive with hunger. One flutters close, its wings brushing against the glass before darting into the gloom. Ruth gasps softly. For a moment, her reflection merges with the darkness beyond, and she feels as though the night itself has seen her, chosen her. In the tavern, the townsfolk drink to quiet their nerves, but their talk only deepens the dread. Names are whispered: the strange, reclusive Herman Gleib, who keeps bats as pets and wanders the woods by moonlight. He's not natural, someone says, and the others nod grimly. When fear can't find an answer, it finds a victim. The flicker of the fire casts their faces in crimson and shadow, the light dancing like flames of judgment. Outside, the fog thickens. The streets are empty now, save for one lone figure, a bat fluttering past the full moon, its wings spread wide and silent. The camera pans slowly upward, following it through the mist as the bell tolls again. The sound rolls across the rooftops, through open windows, through the hearts of every trembling soul in Kleinschloss. And somewhere, behind a locked door, a scream cuts through the night. The town will wake again to blood, and the name, vampire, will no longer be a whisper, it will be a sentence. Morning rises over Kleinschloss, but there is no warmth in its light. The sun hangs pale and lifeless above the mist, its rays unable to pierce the gloom that has settled deep into the hearts of its people. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and dread, and the church bells toll again. Not for worship, but for death. Another body has been found. Another victim, pale and drained, eyes frozen wide in silent terror. The villagers gather around, faces twisted with fear and fascination. Mothers clutch their children. Men murmur prayers under their breath. The words vampire, curse, and demon weave through the crowd like poison. The camera moves through them like a silent ghost, past trembling hands and flickering candles, until it finds him, Herman Gleib. Thin, nervous, with eyes too wide and gestures too twitchy, he stands apart, watching. Herman loves his bats. He speaks to them as though they were his friends. He's odd, misunderstood, and in a world suffocating with superstition, that is enough to make him dangerous. Whispers follow him like footsteps in the dark. He's the one, they say. He walks at night. He talks to creatures of the devil. And soon, suspicion turns into certainty. Meanwhile, Inspector Karl Brettschneider walks the foggy lanes, his face tight with frustration. He wants to believe in reason, in evidence, in the logic of the modern world, but the evidence slips through his fingers like smoke. No footprints. No forced entries. Only bloodless bodies, found in locked rooms. Every trail leads nowhere. And yet, all eyes turn toward Herman. Karl resists it at first. He's seen too many innocents destroyed by fear, but even he begins to feel the chill of something beyond explanation. Still, he clings to science, to the steady hand of Dr. von Neumann, whose calm voice soothes the frightened villagers. The doctor speaks of disease, of blood disorders, of medical anomalies. There is no vampire, he insists. But even as he speaks, his eyes glint with quiet amusement, as though he's watching a grand play only he understands. At night, the village transforms into a world of flickering lanterns and shifting shadows. Doors bolt, windows shutter, and the cobblestone streets lie silent except for the distant flapping of wings. The fear becomes a living thing, pulsing in every home. Ruth feels it too. Her mother grows pale, her health failing, her blood mysteriously thin. The doctor visits often, with gentle reassurances and strange injections. He tells Ruth not to worry, but the unease in her heart deepens. She dreams of bats circling her mother's bed, of wings brushing her face, of a soft whisper calling her name from the dark. And then, one evening, Herman is seen near the graveyard. He's talking to the bats again, laughing softly as they swoop and whirl above the tombstones. A villager spots him, and the panic ignites. A mob gathers, torches, pitchforks, the ancient rhythm of human fear. The streets echo with their cries as they surge toward Herman's cottage. He flees through the woods, his breath ragged, his eyes wild. The camera follows, branches clawing at his face, the moon a cold eye above. The mob closes in, their shadows long and monstrous. Herman stumbles into the open, cornered by hatred he cannot understand. They seize him. The torches flare. Someone shouts, "Vampire," and the word bursts like thunder. Herman's voice trembles. He tries to speak, to plead, to explain that he loves life, not death, but his words vanish beneath the roar of the crowd. The scene erupts in chaos, the firelight painting faces in red and gold, the music swelling with madness. They chase him to the cliffs beyond the village, the dark forest yawning behind him, the abyss before him. With one last, desperate cry, Herman leaps, his figure swallowed by shadow, his fall silent, endless. The mob stands frozen at the edge, their victory hollow, their hearts uneasy. The wind howls, carrying away their shouts like confessions. When dawn breaks, the village is quiet again. They say the vampire is dead, the curse broken. But as the mist curls through the streets, the camera pans slowly toward the doctor's house, its windows dark, its door closed. Inside, Dr. von Neumann smiles faintly to himself as he locks a drawer filled with vials of blood. His gaze lingers on a pale hand resting on the bed, Ruth's mother, asleep, her pulse weak but steady. He whispers softly, "Soon." Outside, the bells toll once more. The village believes it has destroyed the monster. But the real creature walks among them, calm, civilized, and very much alive. The night air lies heavy upon Kleinschloss, thick with fog and the illusion of safety. The villagers sleep at last, believing their nightmare ended with Herman's death. the madman cast into darkness, the curse banished to the cliffs. Yet, as the moon slides over the rooftops, the camera glides past shuttered windows and resting faces until it stops at one lonely mansion that still breathes with light, the home of Dr. Otto von Neumann. Inside, the doctor moves with eerie calm, his steps precise, his face illuminated by the flicker of scientific instruments and the low, humming glow of electric bulbs. Shadows crawl along the walls like restless ghosts as he leans over his desk, writing in a small black journal, the words neat, clinical, and cold. Specimen remains viable. Blood transfusion successful. Subject remains docile. His hand pauses. He smiles. In the next room, Ruth's mother lies motionless beneath white sheets, her skin translucent, her breath shallow. Tubes and glass jars shimmer beside her, each filled with a strange red liquid that catches the light like rubies. Von Neumann adjusts the valves, the faint hiss of air filling the silence. To him, this is not horror, it is triumph. He is not a monster of the night, but a god of science, conquering death by stealing life drop by drop. The myth of the vampire, he believes, is only the primitive shadow of his genius, a reflection of what men cannot yet comprehend. He does not drink blood for hunger. He takes it for progress. But in the dim light, as he watches the crimson swirl inside his instruments, even he seems possessed. His eyes gleam not with reason, but with obsession. Ruth, however, cannot sleep. Her dreams are filled with whispers and cries, her mother's face pale and pleading. She wakes before dawn, drawn by an instinct she cannot explain. The camera follows her through the hallway, bare feet on cold stone, candle trembling in her hand. She hears the faint clinking of glass from below. Her heart races. She moves closer, the shadows deepening around her. Through the crack of the laboratory door, she sees him, Dr. von Neumann, bent over her mother, attaching tubes, draining blood into his infernal devices. For a moment she cannot breathe. The truth crashes over her like a wave of ice. The doctor is the vampire, not by curse, but by choice. A man who hides behind science to justify his thirst for power. She gasps and the candle flickers. The doctor turns. His face, calm and kind in daylight, now stretches into something almost inhuman. His voice, smooth and measured, slides into the air. "Ruth," he says softly, stepping closer, "you shouldn't be here." His tone is gentle, but the menace underneath it is unmistakable. She stumbles back, whispering that she's seen everything, that he's killing her mother. He smiles faintly, almost pityingly. "No, my dear," he murmurs. "I am saving her. You simply do not understand." Ruth flees into the fog-drenched streets, the candle extinguished by the cold night air. She runs to Karl, who has been drinking away his guilt, haunted by the memory of Herman's death. When she bursts into his room, wild-eyed and trembling, her words pour out in fragments: blood, her mother, the doctor, the machines. At first, Karl thinks grief has broken her, but then he sees the terror in her eyes, that raw, undeniable truth. The doubt he's buried since Herman's death rises again. He remembers the doctor's strange detachment, the way he seemed almost pleased by the hysteria, his quiet control of every situation. The pieces fall into place. The vampire never died, because it was never Herman. It was the man who had been there all along, the one who watched and measured and smiled while others suffered. Together, Ruth and Karl steal through the sleeping village, the moon their only witness. They approach the mansion once more, its windows glowing like the eyes of a beast. Inside, von Neumann prepares his final experiment, a transfusion that will drain the last of Ruth's mother's life to sustain his twisted pursuit of immortality. His assistant, a nervous young man, watches in horror but dares not speak. The doctor's hands move with godlike precision, his face serene, almost blissful. He hums softly, a hymn of his own making. As Ruth and Karl force their way inside, the camera whirls through chaos, the thunder outside, the glass breaking, the doctor's instrument shattering. Von Neumann turns, startled, the mask of civility slipping to reveal something hollow and predatory beneath. His voice rises, desperate now. "You fools. You call it murder. I call it evolution." But the words ring hollow against the storm. The lightning flashes across his face, revealing eyes that gleam with madness, not genius. The struggle is fierce. Karl lunges forward, grappling with him amid the swirling shadows and the hiss of ruptured tubes. Blood spills across the floor, bright and glistening beneath the flicker of electricity. The doctor fights like a man possessed, his strength unnatural, his will unbreakable. Yet, in his arrogance, he stumbles backward, striking the controls of his own machine. Sparks explode, wires crackle, and the hum turns into a violent shriek. The lab becomes a storm of fire and glass. Ruth screams as Karl pulls her back, and for an instant, through the smoke, von Neumann stands surrounded by the inferno he created, a silhouette framed in crimson light, his face frozen in shock as the flames consume his kingdom of science. The machine implodes, plunging the house into darkness. The screen fades to black, then silence. And when the camera opens again, it's morning. The mansion smolders quietly under the pale light of dawn. The vampire, the doctor, the genius is gone. But the horror of his creation lingers like a shadow that will never lift. The dawn breaks over Kleinschloss with a beauty so fragile it almost feels undeserved. The fog that had smothered the village for so many nights begins to lift, curling away from the rooftops like the final breath of a dying nightmare. Birds sing again, hesitant, trembling, as if unsure whether it's safe to welcome the morning. The air smells of wet ashes and rain-soaked earth, and the church bells ring once more. Not for morning this time, but for release. The camera pans slowly through the charred ruins of Dr. von Neumann's mansion, a graveyard of shattered glass, melted steel, and scorched ambition. The flames have died, but the smoke still rises, carrying with it the memory of a man who tried to play God and became his own monster. Ruth stands among the rubble, her face pale but calm, her eyes reflecting the ghostly light of dawn. In her trembling hands, she holds a locket, her mother's, found among the wreckage, still warm from the fire. Beside her, Karl Brettschneider watches the smoldering remains with the quiet solemnity of a man who has seen the veil between science and madness torn apart. His uniform is torn, his hands bruised, but his gaze is steady. They do not speak at first. Words would only break the spell of this fragile piece. Around them, villagers gather, those same men and women who had once screamed for Herman's blood. Their faces are filled not with triumph now, but shame. They whisper to one another, their voices small and uncertain. For the first time, they see the truth, that evil doesn't always wear fangs or hide in shadows. Sometimes it wears a white coat, speaks softly, and calls itself progress. Karl kneels near the ruins of the laboratory, where twisted remnants of glass tubes and metal coils lie in tangled silence. The faint smell of ozone lingers, the scent of electricity and human folly. He finds a page half-burned from the doctor's journal. The writing, precise and elegant, reads, "Life is but a current. It must be captured, contained, and commanded." He stares at it for a long moment before letting the ash drift away in the breeze. For all his intellect, von Neumann had forgotten the simplest truth, that life cannot be owned. It can only be lived. Later that morning, the villagers walk to the cliffs where Herman Gleib met his death. The wind howls softly, and wildflowers sway over the rocks. Karl and Ruth stand together as a small group kneels to lay flowers, a gesture of apology for a man they wronged. "He was only strange," Ruth whispers, "and they called him monster." Karl nods. The guilt weighs heavily on him. He, too, had doubted Herman, too easily blinded by fear disguised as logic. Now, as he looks over the horizon, the sea below gleaming in the light of rebirth, he feels the cost of both superstition and pride. That evening, as the sun sets over the quiet village, Ruth and Karl walk along the old cobblestone road, their hands brushing together but not quite holding. The world feels changed, gentler, quieter. The windows glow again, and children laugh in the distance, the sound fragile but real. The bats that once haunted the bell tower flutter free into the dusk, no longer omens of death, but simple creatures reclaiming their place in nature. Ruth glances up, her voice soft. Do you think it's truly over? Karl looks toward the horizon, the last light painting his face in gold. It's never over, he says. But it's ours to keep watch now. The camera pulls back, the two small figures walking through the fading light, framed by the village that has survived its own darkness. The music swells, low strings and a single haunting violin, as the shadows of night begin to fall again, gentle this time, no longer cruel. A final shot lingers on the ruins of von Niemann's mansion, now just a blackened shell against the sky. From one of its broken windows, a single bat emerges, soaring into the crimson twilight, not as a symbol of terror, but of freedom, of nature reclaiming what men tried to corrupt. The wind sighs through the ruins like a whisper of forgiveness. The screen fades to black, and in white letters, the final words appear. The real monsters are not born of myth, but of man's hunger to master what should be cherished. The music fades. Silence. Then, the last image, dawn breaking once more over Kleinschloss. The nightmare is over. The story ends. In the farthest reaches of the ancient East, beyond deserts where no caravans traveled and past mountain ranges so sharp they were called the teeth of the sky, there existed a valley so remote that even migrating birds avoided it, a place locked between cliffs of silver granite and rivers that flowed like thin blue veins through a land of bitter roots, sparse forests, and winters so merciless that tribes survived only through shared fires and desperate cooperation, and it was here, in this forgotten cradle of isolation, that the Valen people, broken into a dozen rival clans, scraped out their existence by hunting mountain goats, weaving rough wool, and praying to nameless spirits carved into stones older than memory, and though their lives were harsh, they believed the valley to be both a sanctuary and a prison, a world separated from the rest of humanity where no king had ever ruled and no empire had ever reached. But everything changed on a night when the sky roared with a storm. Unlike any their elders had seen, a storm whose thunder sounded like the grinding of mountains and whose lightning carved white scars into the clouds, and in the midst of this chaos a young hunter named Arukas, lean of frame but fierce of spirit, wandered deep into the mountains chasing a wounded stag only to feel the earth tremble beneath his feet as a landslide tore open the cliffside, revealing a colossal shape buried beneath ages of rock, a monolith of pure obsidian, smooth as water and blacker than the void itself, so massive that even 10 men could not have encircled it, and yet as Arukas approached, the freezing wind died, the storm quieted, and a strange warmth radiated from the stone, drawing him toward it as if the earth itself had beckoned him. When his palm touched the monolith's flawless surface, a violent surge of vision struck him, cities crowned with storm-forged spires, armies marching in perfect unison across continents, vast war machines lit by crackling blue energy, and at the center of it all a throne carved entirely from obsidian upon which sat a king whose eyes glowed like embers, a king whose face was his own, and these visions poured into Arukas with such force that he collapsed to his knees, trembling not from fear but from the overwhelming certainty that destiny itself had chosen him. When dawn broke, the hunter returned to his people, hollow-eyed and shaken, yet burning with purpose, claiming that the monolith was a relic from the first world, a forgotten age when mankind walked beside storm spirits and shaped lightning as easily as metal, and though many dismissed him as mad, his charisma and conviction were undeniable, and he soon rallied the smallest and most desperate clans to his cause by predicting weather shifts with eerie accuracy and leading them to hidden water sources revealed in his visions. Over months, he forged alliances through marriage, clever negotiation, and, when necessary, brutal duels that earned him both fear and reverence, and slowly the fractured tribes of Valen, once divided by blood feuds older than their oldest trees, united beneath Aruka's banner, crafting obsidian blades from the shattered fragments of the monolith, training in harsh winter storms until their bodies grew hardened and their tactics honed, and learning to read thunderclouds as messages from forgotten gods. Under his leadership, the valley transformed from a place of mere survival into a disciplined war machine, and as word of Aruka's growing power crept beyond the valley through terrified merchants and wandering herdsmen, distant kingdoms began to whisper of a new force rising in the east, a force guided not by tradition but by prophecy, shaped by a stone older than recorded history, and destined to march into the wider world. And thus the first seeds of the Valan Empire were planted, rooted in a vision that promised storms, conquest, and a legacy carved not in parchment or clay, but in obsidian and blood, as Aruka's. Prepared to carve the obsidian throne itself from the monolith that had whispered to him in the storm. As the newfound unity of the Valan clans settled into a fragile but growing order, Arukas did not allow a single dawn to pass without shaping his people into something far greater than the valley-born hunters they once were, for he understood with chilling clarity that the world beyond the mountains would not welcome a rising empire birthed from isolation and stone whispers. And so, he spent months forging his followers into an elite force through relentless drills conducted in freezing storms, teaching them to march in tight formations across icy ridges, to fight blindfolded in swirling snow so their instincts sharpened beyond ordinary men, and to navigate the treacherous mountain passes with the silent precision of wolves. Meanwhile, he established the first Storm Council, selecting advisors not for their age or lineage, but for their loyalty, intelligence, and ruthless potential, among them the sharp-tongued tactician Sarima, who had once led a small clan to victory against raiders. Twice their number, the stoic blacksmith Melder, who discovered that heating fragments of the obsidian monolith produced blades that vibrated faintly with contained power, and Jiren, a young storyteller whose memory was so flawless he could recite every word Aruka spoke, turning the hunter's visions into sacred scripture that spread through the valley like wildfire, transforming myth into destiny and destiny into law. Under their combined leadership, villages were restructured into fortified training grounds, children were taught discipline and spear handling as soon as they could walk, and high in the cliffs massive pits were dug to harvest more obsidian from the monolith's fallen shards, which the smiths shaped into armor that glimmered like liquid night. And as this disciplined society grew, the storms themselves began to behave strangely, clouds gathering only above Valan territory as if drawn to Aruka's presence, lightning striking in rhythmic patterns that resembled ancient runes, and winds carrying voices that seemed to murmur warnings or blessings depending on who listened, causing whispers among the people that Aruka's was no mere leader but the Stormborn, a prophesied figure from their forgotten stone lore who would lead them into an age of expansion beyond the mountains. Emboldened by his people's faith and his own escalating visions, Aruka sent scouts across the surrounding ranges to map lands no Valan had walked in centuries, and what they found filled him with equal parts ambition and fury. To the west lay the fertile plains of the Luradian kingdom, bloated with wealth and ruled by King Torval, a monarch drunk on decadence who taxed his people into starvation while filling his palaces with silks and caged exotic beasts. To the south stretched the desert roads of the merchant princes of Zethar, whose caravans controlled trade across half the continent, but whose arrogance blinded them to the growing storm beyond their routes. And to the north, past frozen rivers and abandoned strongholds, lingered the remnants of the Iron Dominion, once a great empire but now fractured into warlord states constantly battling for scraps of old glory. Arukas realized then that the outside world was both vulnerable and ripe for reshaping, and if Valan was to rise, it must strike swiftly before these kingdoms took notice. And so he gathered 10,000 of his strongest warriors, men and women hardened by winter and sharpened by prophecy, and forged them into the first official army of his empire, the Stormborn legions, each soldier armed with an obsidian spear, a curved storm blade, and armor so black it swallowed the light, moving in disciplined blocks that no valley-born tribe had ever achieved. On the night before their first march, Arukas climbed alone to the monolith's cliffside wound, laying his hand once more upon its smooth, impossible surface, and the visions that flooded him were so powerful he nearly collapsed. A vast plain filled with enemies, the sky split open by a vortex of lightning, a throne rising from a battlefield of shattered steel, and the unmistakable sense that the world would not simply resist him, it would fear him, worship him, and in time bow before him. With renewed resolve he returned to his legions and addressed them in a thunderous speech that echoed across the valley, promising not just survival or prosperity, but a destiny that would carve their names into eternity. And when the gates of the valley finally opened, releasing the storm-born legions into lands that had forgotten the meaning of true conquest, a chill swept across kingdoms far and near, for though they did not yet know the name of Arukkas, they would soon learn that a storm had awakened in the mountains, one that marched on obsidian feet and sought not land or wealth alone, but the forging of a new order, an empire whose rise would shake the world to its core. As the storm-born legions descended from the mountain passes and stepped for the first time onto the sprawling green plains of Luradia, the world seemed to widen before them like a sleeping giant unaware of the storm creeping toward its heart. And though the plains had long been considered peaceful lands safe beneath the rule of King Torval, the people living in scattered villages and farming estates sensed a subtle dread in the shifting winds, for the sky overhead darkened with unnatural clouds that spiraled slowly like a great eye watching all who walked beneath it, and even farmers hardened by drought paused their work, whispering to one another that a bad omen was sweeping down from the east. Yet nothing could have prepared them for the disciplined wall of obsidian-armored warriors who moved in perfect silence, marching not as a chaotic horde, but as a living machine forged through Arukka's relentless vision. And as they advanced, their mere presence caused flocks of birds to scatter and distant herds to bolt in panic, the land itself seeming to recoil from the energy that radiated from them. When the first Luradian outpost spotted the approaching force, its captain, a complacent nobleman appointed not for merit but for his uncle's connections, laughed at the sight of what he assumed were mountain barbarians, sending a messenger to the capital to reassure King Torval that nothing more than a few hungry clans were wandering the plains again. Yet by the time the messenger galloped away, the storm-born legions had already encircled the wooden fort with astonishing speed, their formation shifting like a tightening noose as Arukkas, standing at their center atop a black-armored stallion, raised his spear toward the heavens. At that moment, as if obeying an ancient pact, the sky boomed with thunder and lightning tore through the clouds, striking the ground so close to the outpost walls that the earth shook, and the obsidian blades of the legionaries glowed faintly with a blue pulse, feeding dread into the hearts of the Luradian soldiers who suddenly realized these were no ordinary foes. When Arukkas gave the order, the legion moved with lethal precision, archers unleashing volleys in perfect rhythm, shield-bearers advancing in tight squares that crushed the defenders' attempts to counterattack, and spear lines breaking open the gates with such force that the captain fled through a rear passage, only to be struck down by Sarima herself, who fought with a cold, efficient mastery that left no wasted motion and no mercy for those who resisted. Word of the outpost's destruction spread like wildfire across the plains, but King Torval, safe in his golden palace where music, wine, and dancers distracted him from the reality of his crumbling kingdom, dismissed reports of obsidian warriors as exaggerated tales from frightened peasants, choosing instead to host another banquet, unaware that Arukkas had already overrun 6 more villages, seized their food stores, recruited their strongest young men into auxiliary units, and convinced the oppressed common folk that he, not Torval, was the future of Luradia. Yet the true turning point came when the stormborn legions reached the walled city of Genlar, the kingdom's largest trade hub, whose massive stone gates had repelled countless bandit raids and whose militia prided itself on being the best-trained force outside the capital. But all their pride shattered the moment Arukkas unleashed a new formation invented during the long winters of Valen, the Storm Wedge, a triangular spear point of soldiers who charged with such coordinated force that they pierced the city's defenses like a blade slicing through silk, and as they surged inward, lightning streaked across the sky as if heralding the fall of an era. The battle for Genlar raged through narrow streets, market alleys, and the central square where the city's governor attempted a final stand, but Arukas confronted him personally, moving with an almost supernatural calm as he blocked the governor's jeweled sword with his obsidian blade before driving it effortlessly through the man's ornate armor, declaring before the crowd that Luradia no longer belonged to decadent kings, but to the storm that sought to cleanse corruption and restore true order. The moment the governor's body fell, the defenders' morale broke entirely, and the city surrendered by sunset, its people watching in stunned awe as Arukas ascended the balcony of the governor's mansion and proclaimed Genlar the first conquered jewel of the future Valan Empire. Meanwhile, in the distant capital, Torval finally understood the magnitude of the threat when refugees and wounded soldiers flooded his gates, speaking of an unstoppable force, of soldiers who fought like shadows, and of a leader whose eyes burned like stormfire. Yet instead of preparing his people or seeking alliances, the terrified king locked himself in his palace, ordering desperate messengers to summon mercenaries from distant lands. But it was already too late, for Arukas, now fed by visions stronger than ever and by the momentum of victory, had set his sights on the capital itself, knowing that once Torval fell, the world would no longer question the rise of the Stormborn, and the plains of Luradia, once peaceful and golden, would become the first foundation stone of an empire carved in obsidian and destined to reshape all civilization. As the Stormborn legions marched toward the Luradian capital, their obsidian armor reflecting the restless flicker of storm clouds gathering above them like a living omen, the once peaceful plains trembled with the thunder of disciplined footfalls, and villages along their path, long oppressed by King Torval's crushing taxes, opened their gates not in defiance, but in reverent surrender, offering food, guides, and even their strongest youths who begged to join the unstoppable tide that Arukas led, while the sky itself seemed to bow to his advance, sending spiraling winds that shaped the clouds into vast, twisting formations that resembled ancient sigils seen only in his visions. Inside the capital, the panic was spreading faster than the king's messengers could quiet it, for the golden-spired city of Luradia, once a symbol of wealth and culture, now felt like a fragile cage of luxury built upon rotting foundations, and its nobles, who had spent decades ignoring the starving poor, scrambled for escape routes, loading chests of jewels onto carts and bribing guards for safe passage, but the gates remained sealed under Torval's orders, for he believed that keeping everyone inside would create an impregnable human shield around his palace, unaware that his final attempt at control only deepened the resentment of his own people, who whispered that perhaps the storm from the mountains was a divine punishment they had long deserved. When Arukas reached the capital's outskirts, he did not order an immediate assault, but instead commanded his legions to encircle the city in a perfect ring, cutting off all trade, food, and reinforcements, and for 4 days the citizens watched as the obsidian warriors stood silently beyond the walls like statues carved from night itself, their presence draining the courage of the defenders while the sky churned with dark energy above. Until on the 5th dawn Arukas raised his hand and lightning cracked across the sky with such force that it illuminated the entire city in a ghostly white flash, signaling the beginning of the siege. Massive siege rams constructed from mountain timber hammered the gates with rhythmic booms that echoed like the heartbeat of an inevitable fate, while archers atop the walls trembled as they loosed arrows that shattered harmlessly against obsidian shields. And when the gates finally splintered open, the Stormborn legions surged inward with the disciplined fury of a crashing wave, spearmen forming tight wedges, shield-bearers covering flanks and storm blades cutting through royal guards whose ornate armor offered no protection against weapons forged from monolithic power. The capital quickly dissolved into chaos, with citizens fleeing through narrow alleys, fires breaking out in marketplaces, and soldiers dropping their weapons as the invaders advanced with chilling precision. But amid the turmoil Arukas remained calm, riding at the center of his forces like a dark flame guiding the coming of a new era, his eyes flickering with the same stormlight that had appeared in his earliest visions. When he finally reached the palace, he found its courtyard barricaded by the last remnants of Torval's elite guard, men chosen for their loyalty and raised from childhood to protect the throne. But even they hesitated as thunder rolled directly overhead, and their hesitation cost them dearly, when Serema led the first charge, her twin obsidian blades carving a path through armor and bone with terrifying efficiency, while Melder's heavy-ranked infantry crushed the remaining defenders beneath disciplined formations that moved like a single living creature. Inside the golden hall, Torval cowered on his throne, clutching a jeweled scepter, his silks stained with sweat, and his voice shaking as he shouted empty orders to guards already dead or fled. But when Arukaz stepped into the hall, the king fell silent, paralyzed by the presence of the Stormborn leader, whose aura felt larger than a mere man, as though the storm itself had taken human form. Arukaz did not speak at first, simply walking past the broken remains of luxury, placing his hand on a giant golden column and watching it reflect the stormlight pouring through the shattered windows before he turned to Torval and calmly declared that the age of decadence had ended, for a new order built on discipline, unity, and destiny would rise from these ruins. And with a single sweeping motion, he struck down the king, ending a dynasty that had ruled for generations but had crumbled from within long before the storm arrived. As Torval's crown rolled across the hall, the storm outside reached its climax, lightning lacing the sky and jagged webs that illuminated the stunned faces of citizens gathering in the palace plaza, where they watched Arukaz ascend the steps to the palace balcony and raise the fallen king's scepter not as a symbol of inheritance, but as a warning to all who would cling to the old ways. And with a voice amplified by thunder, he declared the birth of the Valan Empire right there in the heart of Luradia, promising that this was only the beginning, that the storm would spread across the continent, uniting all lands under a single rule, not through cruelty, but through the relentless clarity of purpose. And as the people knelt in fear, awe, or desperate hope, Arukaz lifted his obsidian blade toward the blackened sky, and an enormous bolt of lightning arced down, striking the blade without harming him, sealing his image in the hearts of all who witnessed it as a ruler chosen not by lineage, but by prophecy, power, and the ancient will of the monolith that had awakened him on that storm-struck night in the mountains.